Ready?
All set.
Okay. I'd like to call to order this meeting of the Palm Springs Public Arts Commission on Thursday, January 16th, 2025. It's a special meeting at 12 p.m. Jay, can you do roll call, please?
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Here.
Commissioner Kibbe,
Here.
Commissioner Favo,
Here.
Commissioner Landy,
Here.
Commissioner Silvera. Showing is not present. Vice Chair Burns.
Here.
Chair Armstrong,
Here.
and we've been notified that Commissioner Ramirez and Gascon will not be in attendance. But we do have one. Thank you.
Would someone like to make a motion for the acceptance of the agenda as written?
I motion that we accept the agenda as written for today's meeting, January 16th, 1920 or 2025.
Second, all in favor?
Yes.
Aye. Motion passes. Public comments. This time has been set aside for members of the public to address the Public Arts Commission on items of general interest within the subject matter jurisdiction of the commission, and agenda items if a member of the public cannot be present later in the meeting at the time the item is heard by the commission. Additionally, members of the public may address the commission on each item listed on the posted agenda at the time each item is heard. Although the Public Arts Commission values your comments pursuant to the Brown Act, it generally cannot take any action on items not listed on the posted agenda. 3 minutes are assigned to each speaker. Jay, are there any public comments?
Let me ask if we have any public comments online. For those participating by Zoom. Okay, seeing none. And no one in the audience is wishing to make a public comment. Thank you.
No remarks from the chair. I will address it at the items that we are reviewing in advance. Approval of the minutes for September 17th, November 7th, November 14th, and December 5th, 2024. Are there any comments on the supplied minutes? Would someone like to make a motion to accept the minutes as submitted?
I would like to make a motion to accept the minutes for September 17th, November 7th, November 14th, and December 5th, 2024.
Second.
All
in favor?
Okay.
Aye.
I have a question because I wasn't present at 2 of the meetings. I can't actually approve all.
You're allowed to approve the meetings if you trust your fellow commissioners and their judgment and are confident that what you're saying.
It's this sort of tacit authority, even though you don't specifically know. Okay. Next item, items for approval is approve use of public art funds for art signage in the amount of $6,000. Background on this, the previous term, the commission approved $5,000 for signs in advance. We wanted to sort of get that in front of council, so we got the money approved, and these would be signs for each installation of work. And that was done when we did the very first installation for Red Dragon of Critter Alley, and the sign ended up being around, I think, $500 to manufacture the sign. Because in January we have a sign that is due for Crawler. We have 2 for Critter Alley that are going in the 3rd week of January, which we, if you recall, we approved in the fall, and those are going to be installed in January. And then we potentially have the 3 for Pop Art Park going in maybe January, February. So we just want to sort of get ahead of that by having the money approved, and then we will get the signs done. So that's what this is. It's just sort of, again, our obligation to make things life easier for Jay.
I just a clarification question. I understand what it is for, but do we have, since we're going forward with this kind of whatever, if we want to call it a program,
Yeah.
is there consistency in these signs? And I mean, is there a look to it, or is it just like whatever
Uh,
developed is?
Excellent question. There is, I will say, since I've been on the commission, we've had a consistent look. And we tried to keep the language very consistent. There's some weird legal issues that we have to say this is from the Public Arts, Palm Springs Public Arts Commission using the Public Arts Fund. And it's the one that was in Critter Alley or Creature Alley, whatever it's called, that was a gift. So that had different language, whereas the subsequent two will not be gifts to the city because we funded them. So again, that will have language that we did. The examples I can give you were the plaques we put on the relocation of the John Clement pieces in Duluth Park. So there is we're trying to do a consistency as much as possible. But yes, it has been abysmal, and we'll be dealing with that when we meet on Saturday. So simple and clean and legal. Okay. We're not putting everybody's names, we're not putting the mayor and all that sort of stuff, just everybody know. Would someone like to make a motion to accept the approve the use of the funds in the amount of $6,000?
I'll make a motion to approve the use of public arts funds for the signage designs.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Oh,
Aye.
aye. Okay, thank you. Next, why we're here, the Beautiful Shade Program. Let's jump ahead. And I see we have some of the artists on board. It's excellent. We are going to go through this in a similar manner that we did with the Artscape. And every commissioner was given all the background on the art. The presentation we're going to use is meant to jog your memory only. That is not all the information that is obviously there. The presentation was posted online and all the background material was posted online as well. I've done my best to personally share it so that everybody can see, everybody can engage. And so what we're going to do is, and this is new for Lori and Sean at the previous meeting, but we're going to go, I will introduce each one, and then everybody will vote whether they think it deems going on to the next level. We need a majority to go to the next level. So if we have 3 people that say it's good, right now we have a majority of 3. 3 people that say it goes to the next level, it will go to the next level. If we can't get 3, it does not go to the next level. And we'll continue till we get it to around 10 to 12. And then we will go in depth and review them. If at any point a commissioner says, I want to talk about this piece and why I feel I should be advocating for it, you're welcome to, again, which is what we did last time. I do want to address something that came through. Two other points that came up is we were asked to have these reviewed by the sustainability department and by the impact team. The sustainability department did not get us back with any feedback on the shadows and the shade component, the shade equity. So we will have to use our best guess when we review that. The impact team did give us feedback. Now the impact team is part of the police department, and they're the ones who manage code enforcement in city parks. And if you recall, when I ran the A's Memorial by them, they were the ones that said need 4-inch separators along the bench so that people don't sleep there and it doesn't become where skateboards can go up and can damage the artwork. So they have feedback on some, which I will go through as well. So any questions on this? Carlos, just in time, we're about to start.
Thank you.
I do have a question.
Sure.
So I reviewed all of them, but I'm trying to understand your bullet point of selection that's called artistic excellence and creative merit as evident by submitted material. Excellence and creative merit. How is that evidenced by submitted materials?
Let's get to that when I get to, we're going through this presentation. So the first one is, and these criteria are pulled from the application. I just want everybody to review them because a lot of the artist submissions did not follow what was submitted or we requested. The intent was to design fully functional permanent art pieces that create shade. These will be art pieces, not architectural installations. And
That's a question that I have, but I'll
Okay.
put it in. A lot of, because of the main purpose of those works are, it's pretty much shade.
Yeah.
A lot of those pieces intersect with architecture. And the
Sure.
most beautiful ones are the ones that intersect with architecture. And architecture is art also, so I have some issues with that, but it's all right.
Okay, but this was the requirement, is not to be architectural.
But as a requirement, I think is a problem, but it's all right.
So if we, as a commission, if we feel that we need to discredit some or find them not acceptable, we just have to be consistent. So if we say we don't want this one because it's this, we have to be consistent through all of them. Artists should design the shade cast as well as the artistic structure itself. Integration of organic and non-organic elements is allowed, but all aspects should be included in the overall budget. Pieces may not be able to provide 100% of shade 100% of the time, but consider when and where the residents utilize public spaces to maximize the impact of your art. A park used for morning dog walks is used differently for families watching soccer practice in the same location. Consider time and use of the facility. Your piece should be beautiful, reflect your personality as well as the image of Palm Springs, and encourage all residents to enjoy their public space. The proposed artwork should feature imagery and a color palette that is welcoming, with a focus on themes that promote community, healthy living, family, and sustainability, and offer maximized shade. We also encourage structures that can be used as customizable artwork. Example, an oversized, uniquely shaped metal umbrella that can be repainted annually by local students. All artwork must satisfy reasonable standards of permanence and safety and meet all relevant codes required for public spaces, and offer reasonable proof of soundness against theft, vandalism, and excessive maintenance and repair. As the sites where the works are being displayed are high pedestrian traffic areas, the safety of the public, including children, must be taken into consideration. Work must be as vandal-proof as possible and cannot have sharp edges or be easily breakable or bendable. Selection criteria. In alignment with the Palm Springs Public Arts mission and vision, proposals will be evaluated on artistic excellence and creative merit, as well as evidenced by submitted materials. Community value added, responsiveness and compatibility with the surrounding environment, suitability to the site and the desert climate, and a footprint or active history in the greater Palm Springs area is preferred and would be nice.
That means the footprint or active history of the artist.
Yes. Okay. So you asked about the artistic excellence and creative merit. What is your
What is artistic excellence? Who here knows what artistic excellence is?
Well, we are appointed by the council to
I
be,
understand that, but what's the criteria for artistic excellence?
I think it varies. And, we are a commission that is diverse. We have, a split of male and female, gay and straight, young and old. And I think art is one of those things that is in the eye of the beholder, which is a cliche, but what Shonda thinks is artistic excellence may not be what Carlos
That's
does.
why I'm trying to.
But that's
Yeah,
why
I think in a different way.
That's why we have a
I think
discussion.
artistic excellence is should be prolific as an artist. How much this artist, how many times this artist exhibited? Or how long he's been working as a prolific artist
Yeah.
But
But we do that with every selection.
That's what I'm trying to understand. How do you have a consolidation of opinion on artistic excellence? Or is
It's-
it just my thoughts on what is artistically excellent?
Well, that's why we ask for relevant background, previous public works of art, where they've been displayed, other pieces so we can see their quality, For me, my challenge was looking at their renderings. Some people did amazing renderings. They showed the shadows at various times of day, and others did what I would consider inadequate renderings, but their created work, their portfolio, I was like, wow, that's pretty great. I want to go back and look at their rendering again. That's why we have the solid materials to look, and then we make an assessment. That's the only way we can do it at this point. It's not one person's vision.
Commissioners, if I could just interrupt real quick, please use your microphones. Our devices come through garbled in the recording, so louder is better.
So I do want to jump in now before we go through each one. And even though that the application specifically stated these will be art pieces and not architectural installations, many artists submitted designs which could be considered architectural in nature. As I said, all the designs were reviewed by the impact team, and the impact team are code enforcement responsible for the safety of each park. So Jane and I sent them to them, and they gave responses to each of the submissions, of which some that they found unacceptable, some which they said if they make these revisions, they would be acceptable, and then others were, that's fine. And the concern is that the unhoused will claim the spot and create an encampment in and around the installation. And while we all understand and embrace that this is an issue that we need compassion, the goal of this project is to create artistic experiences, not architectural structures, what might serve unintended purposes. So public art should stay true to its purpose, which is to inspire and enrich rather than addressing broader societal changes that it's not designed to solve. These were not meant to be places that someone could live in. And that's the concern. So what I will do is I have the list, and then as we go through each one, I will give you their feedback. As I said, some of them can be revised, some of them I don't think can. Okay.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
To piggyback that. So I'm looking at these as final designs, not like, oh, if we want to do this, if they could modify it. So I'm not looking at modifications or possibility of modifications. So is that going to be a choice if we go back to some of these designs, say, hey, if we change it this way, it might be acceptable? Or are we taking these for face value and how they're presented and we move on?
I personally would take them at face value. Some of their suggestions are minor tweaks that I think will be.
Okay.
I think that a lot of the pieces, once you see them, it's just a wholesale design.
Yeah.
I think you'll understand when I get.
Yeah.
Okay, so the very first one, Jake. Oh,
I have a quick question. How many pieces, final pieces are we looking at?
excellent question. So ultimately, we have a budget for 150,000 and 125,000. As when we originally approved this, we said that we immediately were contacted by people at the airport and the convention center saying we might be interested in some of these. Let us see the designs. So Jane and I are meeting with the airport on Tuesday, and they may be interested in the design. And the convention center, that's scheduled for the next 2 to 3 weeks. So, but right now we're focused on one final design, 1 at 50,000 and 1 at 25,000. And again, we did not have any submissions at the $5,000 range. Okay, so the first one, Jay. And this is number 1, Shade Study by Jacob Arden. It's an abstract mid-century modernism made out of industrial steel. It is 8 feet tall, 16 feet wide, and 12 feet deep. Jacob is a local artist. This was one that the impact team said was, their exact quote was, it's too inviting for camps. So this one I would say should not be considered. Any questions on that? Number 2, Sky Blooms. Sky Blooms by Jessica Bell. It's art painted on flower blossoms. Bench seating is optional, and this is auto-painted steel. This is 10 feet tall and 8 feet wide. And their comment on this one was it's okay as long as the bench is not too long. I did not see specifics for the bench in her proposal, so I don't think we need to be too concerned about that one. Okay. And this one, again, it was transparent blooms at the top. Next one is
Just a quick question on this
Sure.
one. Do we know what the transparent blooms will be made out of?
yeah, it was all on the supporting material.
Okay.
It's like a poly resin, something like that. So it's durable and it's not glass. Next one is Symbolic Ocotillo by Richard Bond. 3 16 stainless steel rods held together by rings anchored in a footing. Again, it's stainless steel, and he did not give any dimensions, but it looks like it's probably, I would say, 10 to 12 feet. Next one is Dragonfly Gazebo by an artist named Addie Boswell. And this is a realistic dragonfly gazebo to span a sidewalk's width or act as an entrance piece, iridescent paint. And this is made out of 4-inch square steel tubing and acrylic wings. That's 12 feet tall, 12 feet wide, and 12 feet deep. I do want to note in her backup material, she had another design, which was you can see the little one at the side, and it probably should have had its own board, but we didn't want to change it after it was sent around. And it was to have the dragonfly and the leaf over top, and then the leaves were a little seat underneath it. The next one is number 5, and it's Hiding in Plain Sight by Justin Deaster. It's rigid butterfly welded to grass, which is flexible soft green vinyl and auto paint, and this is 10 feet tall and 8 feet wide. The next one is number 6, Jay. I don't know, you jumped, there you go. That's the one, number 6. Shadow of the Condors by Win DeStefano, Mark Nichols, and Darina Siminova. It's made out of 3-inch pipes, 1/4-inch thick steel, and bike racks. That's 12.8 feet tall and 20 feet wide. Next one is Word on the Street, Big Bloom by artist Scott Froschauer. It's a street sign is flower designed to cast shade, made out of acrylic aluminum and engineering grade vinyl. That's 25 feet tall and 12 feet wide. Number 8, Word on the Street Quilt by Scott Froschauer. Aircraft aluminum and engineering grade vinyl that's 12 feet tall and 20 feet wide. This was one that the impact team felt they said offers a gathering spot for the unhoused. Number 9 is a shadow play sculpture environment by Gabble Drawn Art. Design shade area plus a through wall running between abstract parental figures, concrete and aluminum. That's 10 feet tall by 20 feet wide. The next one is number 10, Fungus Among Us by Mr. Hanimal. Los Gatos Locos, which is fiber reinforced cement over EPS foam and stained glass mushroom dots, 12 to 15 feet tall and 18 feet wide. The next one is number 11. 3 paper airplanes by Bernard Hoyes, which is paper airplanes totaling 600 pounds. They form a canopy and sit atop 4 supporting columns, lucite, steel, and aluminum. 14 feet tall, 12 feet wide, and 10 feet deep. And Bernard is a local artist as well. Number 12 is Helios Between Light and Dark by artist Jason Kelly Johnson and Natalie Gaetano, Future Form Studio. And this is epoxy coated carbon steel and aluminum, 14 feet tall. Number 13 is Trees of the Desert by Linda Keeler. And the branches are to be shifted to best form shade, painted metal on a concrete pad, 8 to 10 feet tall, and she is a local artist. Number 14, Structural Shade by Sean Z. Copperweiss. Panel design inspired by the rock art of Tahquitz Canyon. Aluminum panel, steel columns, it's 14 feet tall, 28 feet wide, and 13 feet deep. And this was one that they said would be okay, and the gaps were larger in between. So this is one where they suggested revisions of not just make it so tightly shaded if we decided to move this one to the next level. Number 15 is Kaleidoscope by Chad Lefevre, a whimsical abstract tree with anti-corrosion stainless steel and translucent plexiglass that's 15 feet tall and 12 feet wide. Number 16 is Silver Lining 3 by Sujin Lim, cloud-shaped human body and 3 plant-shaped pieces, stainless steel and resin cast.
It's back again.
She's back again. Number 17 is Dynamic Feathers by artist Adrian Littman. Native American hut designed for Ruth Hardy Park. It's corten steel, 15 feet tall and 18 feet wide. Number 18 is Feathers in Motion by artist Adrian Littman. Includes a bench and was designed for Ruth Hardy Park. It's corten steel, it's 15 feet tall and 16 feet wide. Number 19 is Blue Sol by Anne Faith Nichols, and this is 3 interlocking discs that offer shade that changes with the sun. Industrial 3-inch steel, 15 feet tall and 6 feet wide, and she is a local artist. Number 20 is palm fronds, large by Mandy Classic. Stylized palm fronds offer dappled shade that shifts with the sun's movement. Perforated metal on powder coated steel frame, 16 feet tall and 16 feet wide. Number 21 is beautiful shade structure or sculpture by artist Seth Palmeter. Hot dip galvanized steel and a UV resistant marine grade paint with several layers of curing. 14 feet tall and 10 feet wide. Number 22 is Umbrella Tree by Paul Reamer. Perforated round hole Corten steel that is 20 feet tall and 25 feet wide. Number 23, Lipstick Palm by CJ Wrench. Mild steel and metal mesh coated with UV coatings. This one is in the 2 palm would be the 25,000, but we're looking at a 3 palm for 50,000. Number 24, Desert Bloom by Roger Reutemann. And this is a trio of umbrellas in different stages of bloom, steel, fiberglass, and automotive paint, 15 feet tall and 17 feet wide. And this was one that they said ensured that the bottom area isn't easy to lay down on, so to put dividers in there. Number 25, Mid-Mod number 14 by artist Stephen Schachman. Mid-century aesthetics with a constructivist approach, 3/4 inch and 9-inch weathered steel that is 10 and 1/8 inch feet tall, 7 feet wide, and 3/4 inch deep. Okay. Number 26, Human Connection by Amir Shuri for Tabe Shuri, which is UPM profile composite of wood and plastic with a concrete base, which is 16 feet wide and round in circumference, I assume. This was one, their comment was inviting for people to camp and hide belongings. Number 27, Harmony of Elements by Angie K. Smith. Has a vibrant rose-colored mural, reinforced concrete footings, and a lumen sheeting roof. 15 feet 4 inches tall and roughly square. And that one is fun. Number 28, Star Chamber by Andrea Stasilov. Wind chimes will be tuned to produce specific harmonies. Polished stainless steel sheets with heavy-duty sky clips, 370 waterproof fabric, and there were no dimensions included. Number 29 is Azure Crops by Mirek Struzik, and the leaves can be illuminated. It's acid-resistant stainless steel and polycarbonate or acrylic glass that is 12 feet 9 inches tall, 12 feet 1 inch wide, and 12 feet 8 inches deep. The next one is number 30, Geometric Flora by artist Jennifer Tran with James Shen. Inspired by cactus plants, this is power-coated steel, and there were no dimensions supplied. Number 31, Where Art and Nature Meet by Jenny Ward. A sculpture web of ceramic elements and steel cables stretched over a steel framework, which is 15 feet tall, 12 feet wide, and 9 inches deep, or 9 feet deep, apologies. Number 32, Flower of Life by Wild Heart Design. Polished stainless steel that's 12 feet tall and 12 feet wide. Number 33, Desert Cloud by Xingxi Zhu. Powder coated stainless steel and mesh canopy. Installation is anchored to the ground or freestanding on plywood, which is 24 feet tall and 24 feet wide. This comment was there was a safety issue with the mesh floating. Number 34 is Implement Shade, Cactus Flower by artist Jeff Ziski, which is a structure designed around garden tools. And these are all made out of aluminum and polycarbonate. Number 35 is Beetle by Jeff Ziski. And the beetle can be designed for any color or pattern, and in his backup materials, he had other colorations in there. And this is Sunbrella fabric and aluminum with UV paint that's 12 feet tall, 15 feet wide, and 12 inches deep. Okay. Number 36 is Arches by Josh Zubkoff. Arches with perforated skin, steel painted with exterior grade enamel. That is all of our ones at the $50,000 range. We will now go through them all again, and you will vote if you think it's worthy of going to the next level of finance or summer finance. you can vote as for many as you like, or you could not vote for any.
And as we vote or not vote, do we also add envisioned modifications?
Well, to Tom's point, we shouldn't make modifications on one unless there are more like safety issues. So we can't say, oh, we hate that color, or we don't like that, you know. It was submitted as it was, and
So the modification should be a functional reason.
yeah, as I said, and safety.
Okay.
But I really don't like getting into too many modifications. I think that's sort of is,
I'll have one for the very first.
Okay.
That's the only one.
okay, well, the very first one has a challenge to begin with. Okay, so the very first one, case study by Jacob, and this was the one that the impact team basically found unacceptable. Is there anybody that does want to champion it?
I was going to say there's a tension if the impact team is assessing that the ones that provide the, in my view, provide the most shelter and are most effective at creating shade, which is the mission of this particular program. There's a tension between that and choosing things that don't have that, in their view, problem. And so, for example, Shade Study 1, too inviting to be a homeless encampment. It wouldn't be as inviting if that wall was perforated by a large window, for example, and there was more solidity on the top, which would create shade. Right now, this doesn't really create shade, but I can see how it gives a sense of privacy and structure. So I like the mid-century vibe. I like the international style. It evokes architecture to me, but I can see where the impact team is coming in at, but I want to press a little against what the impact team says about everything that's too welcoming to homeless people and offer a suggestion for modifying that. That would be my view.
Lauren?
So, just to the comment about telling an artist to modify his art. It's an art submission.
It's true.
We're not art directors. We're not supposed, I mean, I would challenge that we're supposed to tell an artist how to change his submission and his piece of art. That would be my only comment on trying to make it suitable when in fact this is his art piece or her art.
I agree with that too, Lauren. I appreciate that. Thank you.
That's sort of my worldview, and it has been not just with this assignment, and that we have to take what's been submitted to us. As I said, I would only make changes if it were, as I said, safety issues is what I'm most concerned about. So
I guess it was, in my view, I was pushing less against the artist and is trying to find a solution for the artist to push against the impact. But I get you. Appreciate it.
is there anyone who feels this deserves to go to the next level? One. Okay. The next one, Sky Blooms. Is there anyone that feels this goes to the next level? And I will state that this is one that I felt, and there's a couple more I'll point out, that the rendering isn't as good as their other work.
Yeah.
So if you look at the work they've created and their catalog, it's very impressive.
Yeah, I was gonna say, this is the piece that I actually liked based on the background material as
Yeah.
well. I actually like the bench as part of the component because it is a shade structure.
Yeah.
You can utilize the shade by sitting underneath of it without having to sit on the ground. So I do recommend this, or I would vote.
So who would anyone recommend this one? I like this. Okay, this one's the next round. Okay. Symbolic Ocotillo.
Didn't appear to me to create any shade.
This also feels to me, it's one of our responsibilities, which we haven't talked a lot about, is we're creating an entire collection, and there's a piece nearly identical to this one already.
Same artist, right?
It's at the corner of Vistacino and Gino Tree. It's much bigger in red, but it's basically a giant metal Ocotillo.
And it's a cool piece, but it's not.
Yeah. Okay, next one, Dragonfly Gazebo by Addie Boswell.
Mr. Chair, should I be excluding any of these that? Should I be excluding any of these that are not making it to the next round, and is number 3 being excluded?
Oh, number 3 is not making the next round. No one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Number 4. Dragonfly. Let's deal with this one as 2. So because she did put it, we just didn't put it on our board. The gazebo. As a dragonfly.
I'm going to vote for this one as well. My first reaction was how delightful it will be to children. Huge insects, they'd love them. And either as an entryway to a park or on its own, it does appear, depending on the dimension of the wings, to provide substantial shade.
I also looked at her background material, and when you look at some of her finished installed pieces, they're really nice.
Yeah. So who would vote for this one to go to the next level? Okay, same. And then what about the separate one, which is not gazebo, but more of a butterfly or dragonfly on a leaf with the bench?
I'm not sure I understand the second piece. Like, is it part of the bigger piece?
No, she put it separately in her background material. We just didn't do it that way. So
There's two separate pieces to be
Yeah.
submitted?
Yeah.
Because I think they're both nice, based on what I've seen as her background. The second one has benches, like little places to sit and
Yeah.
provide shade.
I gravitated towards the second one at first, just because of my hesitation on the first one is the construction.
Mm.
I think, I'd be curious how she could really do that and have it be really stable. I hadn't seen anything in her background that was that expansive. They were a little more modest pieces, which is why I like the bench with the dragonfly on it. But this is why we're all here.
So the question, that I had is, are these two dragonfly pieces separate?
Yes.
The one that's curved, like the one on top's legs are different than the one down here's legs.
Yeah.
So
I
the
think-
one on the bottom, I would think it would be easier stability wise.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to understand your question with the stability.
Just the span of these wings is quite. It's it can't be 12 feet wide. Because if it's 12 feet wide, walking underneath it is about 4 feet. If you look at her sketch.
I think that the issue with this, to your point, is engineering.
Yeah.
And I don't remember in her proposal if she had engineering in her budget, I can't remember. Because I think several of these pieces that we go through are gonna require serious engineering.
Yeah.
Because of wind and stability and all of them because of their height.
Yeah.
So,
If I had to choose, I would go for the second one. I think it's going to be easier to manufacture and it has the same charm. But again, we can discuss that. And Jay can pull up her other renderings later on. But right now we're just voting. Do we want to have a further discussion on the one with the bench?
I would vote for that.
Anybody else for the one with the bench, or do you want to just keep it with the gazebo? I like the bench one personally.
So that's 3.
I like the gazebo one personally, so should we have like both of them go through at this point and then
We can.
have the artist. Give us more on the background of how this bench and how the stuff is going to be executed.
We have to decide based on the material that's submitted.
Materials,
That
yeah.
is, that Jay can pull up, but if we want to have a further discussion on the one with the bench. We just need 4 people to say yes, and then we have a further discussion. on it.
Okay,
Okay, so anyone for further discussion with the dragonfly on a bench?
if I don't get this gazebo, I want the bench, I want the dragonfly, basically.
Okay, so that's,
So,
so we have 4. Okay,
yeah, I like the dragonfly concept, so
I agree.
that's what I like,
Yeah.
but if I can't get the gazebo, that's. I'll take the bench,
I'll take
but I
the-
want the
yeah.
gazebo.
Okay, the next one, Hiding in Plain Sight by Justin Deester. Anyone feel this goes to the next level?
I like it very much as a sculpture, but it seems to offer so little shade.
Okay. Does not make it to the next round. The next one, Shadow of the Condors. I like this one.
I love this.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this one is sort of does exactly what we talked about, just so it's great.
It is.
Next one, Word on the Street, Big Bloom, and this was one that no, not this one. This one is fine. Big Bloom. Anyone feel this goes to the next level? Carlos,
Like,
Tina, we need 2 more. Sorry, Sir Scott. Okay. Next one,
Submitted also for the 25K,
yeah,
right?
he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, at a different scale.
Yeah.
Okay. Word on the Street quilt by Scott Froschauer. This is one that the impact team felt would create a gathering spot.
Is that good? Okay.
Well, that's
It's
not,
supposed to be good,
It's supposed to be good,
yeah,
right?
I mean, that's the whole purpose of the shade
That's like a
structure.
martial
So
law or
people can
something.
gather, but they only want certain people to gather and not like other people to gather, so it's just really horrifying.
supposed to
I mean,
be
I
good.
love this piece, but. I mean, the impact committee is like, oh, we can't have those people gathering.
And meanwhile, it could be yards away from a whole copse of trees that are,
We could put
Going
it in
to
front of the
encourage
police
people to
station,
gather.
so they can,
did anybody vote to move this on to the next level?
I
One,
think it'll be good for
Two.
you.
Yeah, I would like
Three.
it
Not
to.
that, aesthetically, I don't think it's that great, but aesthetically.
Just a
it's definitely-
pushback against the committee, yeah.
okay, so that's three, did not make it to the next level, we need four. Sorry, Scott. Next one, Shade Play Sculpture Environment by Gabaldon Art. Did anyone feel this needs to go to the next level?
This is the one I don't really understand what it is. I can't tell what it is from the drawings.
I was at a loss as well. And I think that this is a point that if they reach out to you, we need to say the clarity is key for the commission. We need to express your idea visually.
Yeah, the artist cannot sell his idea inside.
Next one. Fungus Among Us by Mr. Hanimal. You like it?
I do.
I like it.
I just think the materials, unfortunately, I know a lot about fiber reinforced cement over EPS foam, it won't last a day.
Oh, that's, yeah, you're right. I didn't even think about that.
So we didn't make it anyway. He's another one that the sketch does not do the rest of his work justice.
I'm just concerned, I'm just concerned about the materials.
That's why you're here. Okay, next one, Three Paper Airplanes by Bernard Hoyes. Did anyone feel this needs to go to the next level?
I do, I like it.
Tina, one,
It might be something nice if the airport wants to look at it too, if we don't want it for ourselves.
and that's an excellent point. Excuse me, the pieces that we choose are going in public parks. There's certain populations and uses of a public park, but what is going in the airport is completely different. And what would be the convention center would be different. So we can say this isn't right for a public park, but we think this might be great at the airport. And we can just make note of that.
Yeah, I think we should make note of that. It's not right for the parks, but this would be a beautiful piece for the airport, people coming in, being able to wait, you know. Meet me by the airplanes, pick me up there, be a nice piece.
Okay, so it doesn't go to the next level for this, but let's make a note, Jay, when we meet with them on Tuesday. Next one, Helios, Between Light and Dark. Oh,
Can I just comment on something that if you're going to do that, because this rendering does not really show how it's a canopy or
Yeah.
what's on the ground, I mean, it doesn't cast a shadow in a color, but it doesn't say that that is actually a metal plate on the ground.
and it
I
also,
don't think this represents a piece at all.
you have to look through all of his materials
I
again.
understand.
It just, they're horizontal rather than vertical, and it threw me when I first saw it, but yeah. Okay, the next one, Helios, Between Light and Dark. Anyone feel this needs to go the next level?
I think it makes a really nice like bus stop. I don't think it's an art piece per se.
I like the piece.
I like it.
I like the piece, I like the structure, I like the cast shadows.
Yeah.
I don't know how much shade, but I think it's a beautiful piece.
One more person to support this one so it can go the next level. Nope, didn't make it.
I was just gonna say, it looks like kites.
Yeah.
Breeze of the Desert by Linda Keeler.
I like this piece, but again, the shade piece, I'm not really seeing. And the fact that her pictures, most of them are indoors, that's also a sort of a red flag for me, since these are outdoor, intended to be outdoors.
Does anyone support this going to the next level? Okay, next one, number 14, structural shade. Does anyone support this going to the next level?
Just one,
Did you support it?
I did.
Okay, one. I applaud this artist for the background. They're right up in the description. I thought it was great the way they.
I think that this is more appropriate for something like the nature walk kind
Yeah.
of scenario.
Yeah.
I think that would be more appropriate there.
Mhm. Okay, next one, Kaleidoscope by artist Chad Lefevre.
It's appealing and playful. Not sure if it creates as much shade as some of the others that I supported. But it's lovely.
Carlos, no?
I don't find aesthetic pleasing.
Anyone feel it needs to go to the next level?
I like it.
I like it.
It's three.
You like it?
Yes.
Okay, that's 3. Anyone else feel it needs to go to the next level?
I like it. I just have a question about, I'm not an engineer, so I don't understand, like, the effect of sun through a translucent material,
Mhm.
and I know it's going to diffuse it, but I mean, we've all been out in the sun where like you see your arm would be in a little crack of sunlight and it just singes you in the middle of the summer. So I'm just a little concerned that becomes a magnifying glass.
Plexiglass material. I would put greenhouse.
Plus all of these pieces, which is a concern on most of them, is their steel at touch level. And so 5 or 6 months out of the year, you run the risk of a child burning themselves or
Right.
hurting themselves.
But I think, isn't there like a temperature powder, a coating that can go on it that would prevent it from?
Well, that's not discussed in the many.
Well, that would be something
Yeah.
that we'd have to discuss because of that.
Okay,
Because all of the steel pieces, I mean, it's steel piece after steel piece after
Okay, so
steel piece.
Do
have
we
here.
want to take this one to further discussion? We have 1, 2, 3. Did you say 4?
I'll do it.
Okay, so 4. This one goes to the next one. And I will comment that the artist is on the Zoom, so we can ask him questions at the next round. Okay, next one, number 16, Silver Lining 3. Last chance, Carlos.
I like that bill, but I don't think it applies for this. For the beautiful shade.
Okay,
But I'm bothered.
I know you are. If we get this one, we'll call it the Carlos. Anybody support it going to the next level? Okay, next one, number 17, Dynamic Feathers by Adrian Littman. Does anyone support this going to the next level? Nope. Okay, does not make it. Number 18, Feathers in Motion by artist Adrian Littman. Does anyone support this one going to the next level?
Just a question, do these move? Are these movable pieces or fixed pieces?
I don't
didn't
think
see
they
any light.
are. I looked through everything thinking it was supposed to move,
Mhm.
but I couldn't find any way. There was no engineering for that. And again, we just have to take them at what was presented. Does anyone support this going to the next level? Okay, next one, number 19, Blue Soul by artist Anne Faith Nichols. Carlos.
I think it's a beautiful piece, and I think she also, when we selected also those works for the parts, she was one of the artists. I think she.
Yeah, she submitted this one for Artscape as well.
Yeah, and at that time, I think there were some safety problems, right?
Yeah.
Those 2 pointed, but the pointy part is at the very end, nobody can reach that.
Yeah.
I think it's a very simple, effective, beautiful piece.
Does anyone else support this going to the next level? 1, 2, so we have 3. That's your 3.
Can I just make a comment?
Sure.
So it's interesting because the artist that you like, the previous one, I don't forget her name.
Yeah.
Also,
Bubble Girl.
the what?
The bubble girl,
Mhm.
bubble head girl.
Yeah, if she had done a shade where the move, because the only thing this does is by the movement of the sun, does it provide shade, so does that other piece. If she had done something where she showed the sun behind it.
Yeah.
Because though she didn't give dimensions, it appears to be an incredibly large piece.
The girl,
Well, the concern about the bobble-headed girl wasn't so much the design, but the fact that it's sort of a wet and would get dirty very, very quickly with the
Was
material.
that the issue?
Yeah, that was our concern before, because I liked it.
Yeah, I love it.
Well, yeah, I mean, if we consider that shade is a function of where the sun sits behind a very
Yeah.
tall piece.
Yeah.
It's a very cool piece, in my opinion, so.
the bubble head girl.
Yeah, I mean, considering where it's going and who the audience is and.
Yeah.
Whatever, but she doesn't show where the sun is, so she doesn't
Yeah.
show how it's.
And the bubble head girl has a bench also, so.
Not quite, but again, the concern was the material she used, it would be hard to clean if it were sprayed.
What is the material?
It was resin. A resin cast, and it was
So resin cast, why is that hard to clean?
just because it was, I believe from her description, it was a matte finish. And so
Can she change that?
again, if we feel we want to move that one, we can have a further discussion.
I mean, to me, it's a very whimsical piece, you know, that's. it.
Nobody liked her the first time.
I liked
Everybody
it,
likes her.
Carlos, I liked it.
I love it, it's just that the whole shade.
Yeah.
component of
I
it,
was
you have
all
to
for the
be
bubble head.
Okay, do we want to move this one on to the next one?
That's why I'm saying, if you look at the other one.
Yeah.
and you look
Yeah,
at
I mean,
this
if it was between
It's
this one and the
gorgeous, it's
bubblehead, I
very-
would
it's-
choose the
it's very
bubblehead over
childlike,
the
it's
other.
a
Okay, so did we want to move this one to the next level?
I would.
Okay,
I would change that, but
Okay.
I thought nobody wanted.
yes, okay, let's move it to the, move number 16 to the next level. Okay. So let's focus on number 19. Do we feel it needs to go to the next level?
If we're taking her, I'm not taking
Okay.
that one.
Number 19.
I
Next-
like it too, but if nobody.
Okay,
wants
so
it, I
you,
like it.
1,
Yes.
2,
It's
3.
very minimalist than me, I mean, I like the piece, I like the blue.
I just, don't we already have a piece like this somewhere in our collection? I feel like I've seen this before.
Well, this artist is in the Pillars of Palm Springs.
Yeah, she's in the pillars,
Okay.
but she submitted this for Artscape.
Okay.
This would be a very nice piece for the convention center.
Yes, I agree.
It's very minimalist, beautiful.
Which we can do separately, but we need to focus on for the
So
park.
maybe Jay can put a note that this is a
Sure.
suggestion for
Yeah.
the convention.
There was one other one she submitted that we actually thought was good for the airport and in Artscape as well. Again, my concern with some of these is the thin metal, because it is very, very thin. It's just kids running in the park and they could hit and.
Yeah,
Okay, the next one, palm fronds. Large. Anyone feel this deserves to go to the next level? Lori?
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad piece.
No? I'll go for 2 because I like it. I think it's, I like the graphic nature of it, but unfortunately it doesn't go to the next level. Number 21. The big shade leaf. 14 feet tall, 10 feet wide. Anyone like this one? Go to the
I
next
just
level.
like it,
I
like
like it.
not enough, I mean, there's others that I feel like.
Well, it's hard when we have one, it's like in my mind, I know the one that I would pick, so it's kind of hard to like. others.
I know the
That's-
one I would pick.
You have as many picks as you want. We're gonna get to that point. Okay, so does this one deserve to go to the next level for discussion? Number 21.
I like it, yeah.
Tina? Anybody else? I like this one. Go for 2. I will just say, when I was looking at Ruth Hardy Park, I was looking at locations for where these can go. And some of these pieces obviously are substantial and they could go into an area in the park. There was one area that there was at a cross section of the walkways, there was a lonely water fountain there. And I was like, if we took one of these organic pieces and had so the shade was over the water fountain. I mean, every kid knows when you go to the water fountain that's 120 degrees and you push that metal button, your finger is on fire. And the water fountain is so hot And I was like, we could put a piece of art over this water fountain to give it some shade. So some of these I think could work in that. I'm not saying it's just one specific. There's a couple of them
Yeah,
that do that.
I get it. I just, yeah,
So,
interior design now, like the landscaping, so
Yeah.
I'm out.
See, I was looking at this and I thought, it's fine as it is, but it doesn't do anything for me in terms of the amount of shade that you're really getting.
Yeah.
Although I think it's a little off scale if it's 10 feet wide. But think about if you had 3 of them in a row and then they were staggered in height, and then you've got your shade, which would be kind of a cool thing, but that's not what we're here to do.
correct.
Yeah,
Okay. So next level or not?
no,
No. Okay. Number 22, Umbrella Tree by Paul Reamer.
1,
2.
I think this is a very cool, a pretty cool piece to blend in into parks.
I like it.
I love it. I think it's beautiful, but I'd rather have a real tree.
He submitted one also for the 25K once, and I like the one with the bench around. I think it's,
Oh, that would, yeah.
if you were trying to get some shade, it's nice to have somewhere you can sit down.
Okay.
So he has one that I think is nicer with a bench.
So
But this one doesn't.
1, 2, 3. Anybody else want to push it up to 4 and have the discussion, or we're keeping it at 3? 3. Okay. Sorry, Paul. Next one, Lipstick Palm by CJ Wrench. This is a 3 palm installation. No.
3 weeks.
This may give you your 3. They don't need to be in that triangle that way, but does anyone want to take this to the next level for discussion? No one? Okay, sorry, CJ. Number 24, Desert Bloom by Roger Reutemann.
1,
Okay, unanimous. Number 25, Midmod 14 by Stephen Shackman. Anyone support this going to the next level? No, okay, sorry, Stephen. Number 26, Human Connection by Amir Shuri. And again, this was one that they felt people would hide in and hide their belongings.
And I think it's a beautiful piece.
I do too.
I think it's a beautiful piece.
But I understand, but
Yeah.
the whole purpose of using public space and a park is to gather and have a picnic, and this would
Yeah.
be an ideal.
Absolutely.
Place for a picnic. It would be, I mean,
Good
I
choice.
love it, but it's again, where we want certain people there and not certain people there, but it's a public space, so.
The thing this reminds me of is the metal piece in Chicago. Where people, even though you could gather underneath of it, it's such a unique piece that people go in it and come out of it and explore it. Because it's more than just shade.
Yes,
Um,
the open space is everything. I think it's a beautiful piece.
I will say, I love this piece. I love the style of the sort of the utilization of the material. I think this is a situation where a commissioner can say, I want to talk to this artist and have them submit for something else. And they can, because they seem to do a lot of this kind of work with their pieces.
The question, so if the impact committee doesn't think that this is a good idea, but can they have the power to say, no, you can't do that? Or is it just suggestions on their part?
It would go in the staff report to council.
Yeah, I think this is beautiful, but it
So
also-
no, because it invites homeless people.
It's also, this really is different in terms of, this becomes a building.
Mhm.
And then
Because, sorry,
it's a building. It's not necessarily,
but architecture is taught in our history classes. Architecture is our.
I understand.
It's
Yeah, I
like
can see all
a-
the benefits and I can see all the drawbacks.
I
mean,
understand.
Every little cubby hole, every little, you can
Yeah.
see it. I mean, it's a beautiful piece, but this is why we can't have nice things.
Well, it depends where it's placed. If it's in a high traffic area, in a park that is used a lot at high traffic and there's patrolling going then families will be in and out of it all the time and there won't be a permanent encampment if it's monitored and used a lot.
Or conversely, there will be people that are living in there and families won't go near it, which is what they do in the bathrooms in Sunrise Park.
Well, that's not the fault of the bathrooms. That goes to the
But it's,
monitoring.
you know, it is a monitoring issue, and I don't think we should be creating things that we know are gonna be problematic. When we have other options, and there are other, as I said, there are other pieces that we all were like, I love that, I love that, I love that.
Or
So,
it's, I just thought we're supposed to find things that create a lot of shade. This creates a lot of shade.
Sure.
Some of the other things create no
some
shade.
shade.
This would actually be beautiful for the airport too.
Mhm.
They have a lot of open space
Yeah.
where people do want to sit and wait.
Yeah,
and-
You know, that's great. I agree with that because the only negative that I saw about, because I love this piece, but the only negative is if you have this in a park, that becomes a jungle gym with kids climbing up the sides. Because that would be an easy rock climb kind of thing.
Yeah.
But airport, absolutely very cool. Yeah, I like that idea.
Suggestion for the airport or for the convention center or both?
We will
I
recommend.
think
both.
either one.
Yeah, I think we should recommend them for both of the other areas.
Yeah. You know, just as an aside, there's also, and this is jumping way ahead, but when the library does this expansion,
Mm.
they're doing a whole landscaped outdoor reading area.
Oh,
Great
So
for both.
something like this would be perfect.
But I think you have to, the reason I recommend the airport is it's enclosed.
Yeah.
There are no homeless in there.
Yeah.
So it's within the terminal.
Yeah.
The moment you put it, like, the convention center is still gonna be either in your park. Or they're redoing that whole open grass area, which is my understanding will ultimately be building, so. The same issue we're talking about at parks would occur outside the convention center, or I don't know about the library, whether it's enclosed during the day.
It's gonna be walled in.
It is gonna be
Yeah,
walled,
yeah.
so, because I think that's something to think about when we.
Next one, harmony of elements.
Do we want to?
Oh, did we
get a
want to,
count on this one?
anyone to go to the next discussion level?
Well, I would.
I would too.
Oh, I'd love to, but I mean,
Okay. We can discuss it,
Not
but
gonna
I don't
happen,
think
right?
it's gonna happen,
Right.
but we can let it know. At the next level. Okay. Next one, harmony of elements by Angie K. Smith.
Again,
I love it.
I think it's great. I mean, architecturally, yes. So, and it creates an awful lot of shade.
This one had no negative comments from the impact team.
Oh, really?
No.
This makes no sense.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
I don't know what to tell you. They reviewed them all and I know for a fact they went through their background material.
Well, then I'll vote for this one.
I think provide shade.
yeah.
Shade light.
Next level, okay. Number 28, Star Chamber.
I hate doing shine, so.
Yeah, it's like, there's a.
Anyone voting for this to go to the next level?
I love it if we had a meditation.
So, I will say, I was impressed by the artist background and they talked about the tribe and the bird songs and everything.
Yeah,
Maybe that Zen Garden by Ruth Hartwell.
Anyway, so no one's voting for this to go to the next level. No, apologies, Andrea. Number 29, Azure Crops by Mirek Struzik. Anyone voting for this to go to the next level? Tina, Lori,
I love that the reflection is blue. I mean, I don't think a lot of people have used a lot of color before. I just think it's very pretty. And different.
Okay,
anyone else? 3? We have 4.
I have a hard time to conceptualize that.
Where the posters.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's my only problem.
This one does not make it. Sorry, Marek. Next one, Geometric Flora by Jennifer Tran. Lori, Carlos, Tina, Kate, next level. Congratulations, Jennifer.
I'd love to hear the dimensions of that. That's the only reason why I didn't vote for it, because I don't know how big it is, because I want it to be big. I mean, if it's to scale with the people, then yes.
Number 31, Where Art and Nature Meet by Jenny Ward. Ceramic elements and steel cables stretched over steel framework. Anyone vote for this to go to the next level?
It's lovely too, but the shade that it offers seems so slight. It's like lace.
One? Or no? No? Sorry, Jenny. Next one, Flower of Life by Wild Heart Design.
I really like this one too.
I like it. Well, great. Next one, Desert Cloud. This was one that they felt the fabric was a hazard. Anyone vote for this to go to the next level?
I really like this piece, but again, I see it at the airport. I don't see it in a public park.
This feels a little Coachella to me. Or Desert Man, or what, Burning Man, Burning Man.
Desert. I knew,
Okay, anyone vote for this to go to the next level? Okay, did not make it. Next one, Implement Shade by Jeff Ziske. Anyone vote for this to go to the next level?
I think this is interesting. I don't quite understand it. I wish he had done like a actual photo image of it. But again, it might be a safety issue. I don't know if you can climb up there and get lost in all the metal on top. I don't know. It's interesting.
If it's 15 feet tall, then those green struts are probably 15 feet tall. So people wouldn't climb up those individual poles. It's interesting
Anyone
how
else
they've
vote
got
for it to go to the next level?
so many different individual elements, and then collectively they create the shade. It's cool looking. I'll vote for it.
Two, up to two. We need two more. Nope, sorry, Jeff. The Beetle by Jeff Ziske. Anyone support this one? Sorry, Jeff. FYI, Jeff is the artist who's doing the dog that's going in Victoria Park.
Mm.
So he's in our collection already. Number 36, Arches by Josh Zubkoff. Anyone support this one? I like this one. I will say that when I looked at his supporting materials, the fact that the radiance change in size, I thought was interesting. And the fact that there's mesh between the two of them does give shade and rings of shade. I thought it was, interesting and affordable. And I could see kids having fun running and playing with it. And something like this would be great in Demuth Park, where there's enough space and it's almost like a shady jungle gym type of thing. But if no one else supports it, I'm alone. Okay. And that is it. Jay, how many are we down to?
There's 10.
10. And we did that in an hour. Great. Okay.
Why don't I go through and remove the ones that weren't selected then?
Okay.
Are we gonna go through the 25,000 and then have a discussion all together, or?
We can do the 51st because he has to leave by 4. And we need to keep the same group of selection committee for each one. And I think once we make the 50,000 determinant, because there's crossover of artists in 50 and then 25, we then can make decisions on what.
And can an artist win in both categories?
I'm sorry.
Can we vote positively to have the same artist in both categories, or are you saying that we should not?
We can do whatever we like. We can. I think there's an opportunity for a little diversification, not only in look, but also in the shade itself.
Right, but we're not using the fact the artist. 2 submissions of this, the elimination.
But I would like to stop. Fresh Hour had the same design in 50 and in 25.
Oh.
He didn't make it into 50 anyways, but. I have Pringles and if anybody wants something, some carbs, Pringles. And no wafers, if anybody, they are great just to get a little carb hit if you need some.
I would love some.
I like
Thank
Pringles.
you very much.
Pringles are great.
Is
there any- is there any
water fountain around here? I'm so.
Yeah, right outside the door.
Thank you very much.
Pringles are great if you need a little salt, little potato flakes.
It's a model for a shade structure.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. You know what?
Jay's like, oh. I gotta tell you, when I drive to like San Diego, I have a can of Pringles at the side and you're just like. So.
Can't just take one either.
You know,
A little like-
and the challenge is, do you put them in your mouth one at a time or
Is that
put
what
them
it
in
is?
five?
All of it, all
Yeah,
one time?
yeah.
There's a.
Where are the Pringles?
Carlos didn't get them.
Thanks. Pringles. The official snack of the public. It is amazing though, when you review these, just again, the power of doing a good, good rendering.
Yeah, I was amazed how bad the rent, some of the renders were so bad. Yeah.
The no scale that weren't done to perspective.
Yeah. How much is $50,000 for that, six or something better?
Well, you know, and that's the discussion we can get to it when we go to the 10, but some of them, when I looked at the budget. And half of them, the budget goes to the artist's fee. And then somebody else can do something similar. And even more complicated, and their artist fee was maybe $7,000 or something to that effect. And again, those are conversations that we can determine of, do we think that's worth, you know, the material cost is really only 20,000, is that worth $50,000?
Well. Parts, not products.
I've said many times, I don't think that it's our role to state how much work the artist put into it, because I know there's years of experience, but our role is to ensure that we're properly using the city's money. And so, as I said, we have plenty of choices too. That's the good thing. So we're not having to accommodate, compromise.
I would just say though, that we really can't, I mean, somebody gives a budget. You don't know how they look and distribute their funds, and if I were listening as an artist
Agreed.
and I heard that comment, I'd say, okay, in the future, when I submit, I'll just
Yeah.
load up on the materials and lower my
Mhm.
fee. Because they don't value, or they think they can value the artist's time, so I think we have to be careful about that.
Yeah.
Evaluation process.
Yay,
Are we done? How many do we have? 10?
10.
Excellent. Okay, let's go through them quickly so we can see them all at a glance and see what we have. Okay, so we have Sky Balloons by Jessica Bell. And The Dragonfly Gazebo by Addie Boswell. Next one is Shadow of the Condors.
Commissioners, this one here is actually, I think you moved forward both of these, the Dragonfly.
Correct.
and the,
Yeah.
okay.
Shadow of the Condors. Kaleidoscope. Silver Lining 3. We did not choose Dynamic Feathers.
Silver Lining 3. Okay, this one is out.
Yeah. Human Connection. Harmony of Elements. Geometric Flora. And Flower of Life.
There's one that's missing.
There's another one.
That's the yellow flowers.
Yeah, those yellow, the
Roger
yellow
Williams.
flowers, actually was unanimous, all of us.
Yeah, all of
Yeah, that
it.
was one.
That
Oh,
one
yeah,
is
she was up there.
Yeah. I like that one.
number 24.
Okay.
24 was missing.
Yeah. Here we go, 24. Falcon.
We want to do a further elimination now that we're down to 10 or 11 pieces and then discuss kind of the last remaining ones, or do you want to discuss each of these in detail?
We can do whatever you like. Now that we see the top 10, we can eliminate down to top 5.
The reason I say that is he was going through the, like, when you see them in a smaller bunch,
Yeah.
it becomes clear some are, or at least for me, visually better than I would say,
Yeah.
why did we put that in there?
Yeah. So we can do another round. And as I said, we need to have 4 to go to the next level.
And we can rank them already. I mean, if that one we already did unanimously, we all liked it, so that goes to the
But
top or?
I think to Laura's point, once you sort of see them and you say, oh, this is our sphere. What ones do I really like? Yeah, I kind of like this one at the beginning, but now that I see the others.
So now we're gonna boil down to 5.
5 or 6, I think it's fair. Or it could be 4, whatever.
So this one, human connections, we are already thinking about the convention center or airport.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't be in this list now, right? Or we'll just.
We'll keep it,
aside?
but let's discuss it publicly again. We
Okay.
want to ensure that
All right.
every decision making is part of it and every commissioner has the opportunity to speak their mind.
Sorry, I just have to set up the share screen. again.
Anybody want Pringles?
Yes.
Send somebody out to start.
Or Thursday.
Would you like a vanilla bar?
No, I'm fine, thank you. I would say now that there's 10 and we're trying to get into 5, you've seen the top 10. And really there's 11 because there's 2 of the Dragonfly one. Let's try and limit your choices to 5 that you support, seeing them all. Did you want us to go through them all again before you vote for your 5?
No, fine.
Okay,
We just flip through them and vote instead of.
yeah, we're gonna go through them all. Okay, so this one, number 2 by Sky Balloons by Jessica Bell. Does anyone support this going to the top 5? 1, 2. I'll give it a third. Oh, but note which ones have 3, in case we
Yeah.
eliminate too quickly.
Okay.
Next one. Dragonfly Gazebo by Addie Boswell.
Which one are we doing? The right or the left?
But,
Next one.
That one.
oh, we're gonna vote on both.
Yeah, this is gonna be a separate one. Who votes to move the gazebo forward? 1, 2,
I would love to see you go.
2,
Three.
3. Okay. Next one is the dragonfly on the leaf with a little bench underneath it. I vote for that one. 3. Okay. Next one. Shadow of the Condors. Unanimous. Okay. Next one, Kaleidoscope by Chad Lefevre. I like it.
Sorry.
That's okay. Yeah. Doesn't mean it won't be chosen for the convention center of the airport.
Yeah.
This is for the parks. Okay, next one. Big Head Girls, Silver Lining 3. Carlos. Carlos, Lori, Shonda, Jim. Okay, 4. What goes next? Okay. Dynamic Feathers wasn't in there, Jim.
Yep.
Yeah, so we'll just skip that one.
That's what the one Jay wants.
Yeah, Jay. Passive aggressive Jay. I don't know why this one keeps it different. My brother-in-law did that. Okay, let's just go down to Desert Bloom, Roger Rodeman, unanimous. Okay, next one.
That was unanimous.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Human Connection. At 4, okay, that goes to the next level. Okay. Harmony of Elements. 3. Next one. Geometric Flora. 1, 2, 3. 4. 4. Okay. Next one. Flower of Life.
Oh, come on, hands up.
3,
No pressure,
4. 4. Okay. And that's it.
That's it.
Okay, so what did we get?
And Jay's piece also, where's?
Okay, so we have the final, what got 4 votes?
No, we got 2 that were unanimous.
Yeah, two were unanimous.
Yeah. But we're just gonna, the ones that got 4 votes and above will be,
All right, Shadow of the Condors, unanimous.
Yep.
Silver Lining had 4. Desert Bloom had 7.
No,
Yeah.
unanimous, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't end.
Oh, that's 7.
Human Connection had 4.
Yep.
Geometric Flora had 4. Flower of Life had 4.
okay. So let's start with the first one that had 4.
It was. So not Shadow of Condor. Shadow of Condor was the first one with 7.
That's unanimous.
Yeah, that one's
Okay.
unanimous. I don't think we need to
Okay.
have further discussion on that one.
Silver Lining 3.
Silver Lining 3. Does anyone want to defend this one or speak against it?
I'll be quiet.
I don't wanna, I don't wanna speak against it, but I'm looking at stuff from a safety perspective and a shade perspective.
Yeah.
So now that I feel like we've gone through an aesthetics, now I'm just looking at how effective it's gonna be.
I
So
agree with you.
that's the reason why.
It's a lovely piece, but yeah, maybe another place.
As I said, I like this artist's work. I think we can engage them for future opportunities. I don't know if I would support this one when I think we have other qualified pieces.
I see this one next to the library.
Or the convention center.
Yeah,
This would be a
Convention center.
great piece at the convention.
yeah. Can we suggest convention center?
They're gonna review everything.
Okay,
Okay, so this one drops out.
Does it make sense that when they review everything to have the commission's thoughts on where we think some pieces, because it's about selection anyway at this level?
So what's gonna happen with the convention center and the airport is Jay and I are just gonna speak to them about the potential of this happening. And if they say, yes, we will move forward with that, they will then have to give money to the commission. And then we will go through the same process again. Because then it needs to become part of the public art collection. Okay, so it's really just a stopgap and a formality. But we will still be involved with anything that goes into the convention center or the airport. We're not just a clearinghouse of designs for them.
So are we pushing this one for the air? Or are we suggesting this one go to the airport?
No, we're talking convention center.
Oh, we're talking about the convention center.
Well, again, the convention center and the airport are similar in that they have protected spaces that we may not have in a public park.
Yeah, I would like this one at the airport, just for the whole, I don't know, gives me waiting for grandma vibes.
So
What is so great about it, is clearly, ethnically.
Yes.
It's also an artist that's, that comes from another country.
Yeah.
It is clear.
So
I
this,
love it, it's beautiful. I do want to see it in Palm Springs somewhere, but.
well, you should have been here for Artscape because Carlos and I were desperate to get it in and she turned us against it.
Yeah.
Okay, so this one will not make it in the finalist for this one, Jay, so you can let us, next one. Next one that had 4,
Human connection.
I believe that would be the Dragonfly.
No, Human Connection is the boxes,
Yeah.
the book is up, it's the conservatory.
Okay. My concern with this one is when I read through it, and maybe I missed it, I didn't see anything about the roof. They only talked about the construction of the sides and the material, and I kept reading, where's the roof material? How's this roof being done? And as I said, maybe I missed it, but as I said, that's my concern with this one. And the fact that it is really a domicile, if you will.
I think Tom's point earlier about it's a climbing gym does raise questions about safety.
Yeah. And again, remember, we had people putting their babies on crawler. So.
Have they stopped doing that because of the sign in front of them?
Yeah.
No babies on parlors.
This is not a toy.
Well, you'd have similar signs then around any of these. too.
Okay. So this one does not go to the
We
next
failed
one.
to connect as humans.
Yeah. Next one, Jay.
Geometric flora had 4.
Oh, that first one didn't make it? The
No,
one
we're going
before
back,
that?
we're going back to it.
Okay.
Oh, that one had 7.
Mm,
The one before this had
The
7?
one before?
No, it didn't.
That was unanimous.
No, it didn't.
No, that one didn't have
No,
7.
No, this one didn't have 7, but this will be discussed also, right?
24 had.
Oh, I'm
7.
sorry.
24.
Yeah.
That one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So we can talk about this one. Anyone want to defend this one or speak against it? Which we doing?
Oh, I'm sorry, that, they were right. I think this one was,
Okay,
Yes.
3.
Yeah, this one was.
Yeah, this is-
we're
are we doing
discussing.
27?
Yeah.
Okay, 27. Anyone want to support this one? Now that you see all the top
But this
finalists.
one
no, this
only
only
had
had 3,
votes.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Oh,
So we're going to, this one has 4.
This one has.
Yeah, this
four.
one has
Okay. Geometric flora.
I mean, I like this one, but it looks like I've seen it before. It looks like something common, it's not like unique to me. Like I've seen this design in other places and other buildings and cities and stuff. It doesn't really say Palm Springs to me.
Or
Well, I mean, I think it looks like a cat, people think about cactus,
Yeah, it does.
the round. It's those
Yeah.
shapes. I agree with you that architecturally, that form, the way metal is formed is used often because it's structurally sound.
Mm.
I like the color, I think it provides shade, it's,
Like the color, like the structure. And provide shade, and it will provide very nice cast shadows. I like it.
I like this one a lot too. But if I had a choice between this and the Flower of Life, it's really hard to toss up. I think they both have 4 votes.
It, dimensions aren't given for this one.
Right.
The photos lend us to believe that it's not too much taller than the height of a grown adult.
Yeah.
If it was taller, it would seem less of a risk of becoming a jungle gym.
Yeah.
Right now, it
If I'm
could be a jungle gym.
a tall 5'11" kid, I'm gonna be jumping up on those support beams,
And climbing into it.
just swinging.
Parents weren't looking.
Yeah. That's my concern.
Depends on your parents.
I think if this were in a more secure environment than a public park, it would be a beautiful piece. I'd be concerned about this one.
Yeah, this looks like a piece that I can envision in the downtown park.
Mhm.
You know. Or the living desert or something like that, you know, okay, so. This does not go to the next level. And Flower of Life. I like this, I like the simplicity of this one. I think it's just clean and it has shade, but it's still bright. There's an interesting graphic component to it that I think would be nice. And I could see that'd be a great place where people would want to get married. It's almost like, you know, or take photos underneath it. I think it could be kind of a nice little piece. Particularly in a park like Ruth Hardy Park or something like that. It could work well.
I don't know, in this, like, review of it, it's very stark, actually, even though it has that,
Very, very stark.
it's very stark.
It can look good in front of Eisenhower Hospital or
Yeah,
something, but it
it's-
just.
It's, to that point, it's missing
Yes.
some sort of warmth or.
Very business, very corporation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know, I think that, you know, we also have to know that when you're doing art in parks, there's landscape nearby, so it's a little, the placement there is a little by the side of the road. But I take your point on that, but I also look at the simplicity
Yeah,
is its appeal, you
Yeah, I
know,
love the simplicity and beauty of it.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely be a good yoga spot, because this particular design has symmetry and certain belief patterns.
Mhm. Tom,
I like it for all the same reasons. I'm just, again, you know, I see steel and I see, you know, summer heat, and I think that that is a nightmare.
Jim,
I didn't vote for this the first time around.
okay,
That's
that's all you need to say. Tina,
I think the piece is beautiful, but there are, if we can pick one piece, that's not my vote.
excellent approach. This one does not go to the next round. Okay, we missed a couple.
it's
To discuss.
24.
Yeah, we missed the yellow blooms. That one,
I'll just pop in and say, I think this is the best executed piece of all of them. Personally, it has a place to sit, it provides shade, it is approachable. Looks well constructed, and to be honest, it's a really great presentation, which speaks to possibly the quality of the production.
I will, just for background, Roger Reutemann is the gentleman who did Cadillactus.
oh, I love that piece.
And so his fabrication is top notch. And I said, this is a note for all arts. I was impressed in his background materials where he took the piece and showed you how the shade would affect it at different times of day. So it wouldn't go just where they're sitting, but it would cast shadows depending on where it would go. And I personally like the way he used this as a reference to Poolside Gossip, which was his inspiration. If it's the reverse of the umbrellas in Poolside Gossip. So I think this should be one of the finalists personally as well.
I agree. I think between this one and the Condors, which I think is a beautiful piece too, but it's more conservative in terms of, and with that, we already have a lot of browns and beiges here in the desert. I think this is just a splash of colors, fun. I see that in the park very easily.
Mhm.
I could see this in a park and I could see multiples of it in a park
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
The only revision we need to make this is to have Roger do some sort of 4-inch divides. So it's in quadrants or so that, people can't curl up and sleep too easily.
I now see another problem that I don't wanna bring up
Okay,
because I wanted to go through.
okay.
So I'm battling within whether or not to speak about how the height of the bench versus being able to jump on the underside of the flower. And I don't want any of you all to think of that.
Okay, we didn't.
Okay, good.
What are you talking about?
Exactly.
I can see a kid.
So
doing that, yeah.
or like just sitting in the middle of the
Yeah.
tree. I really like this design and I don't want you all to think of those things because I want this one to go through.
If you look at the scale of the humans, those seem to be adult humans. A child would be way too small to jump up to those petals
Yeah.
even from.
But as an adult human, I would love to do those things.
But from the inside, they can climb those flowers very easily.
I will say, when I walked around Ruth Hardy yesterday, there were a lot of umbrellas on the tables there already. So I think that,
It'd be safe. for
yeah,
people.
I think
And-
so.
And I'm understanding that the materials that this is gonna be added is more fiberglass and not like a sunbrella or something like that. It says steel fiberglass and automated.
Yeah, and it's perforated.
Really,
Yeah.
okay, good.
Yeah.
And it's not gonna look like a satellite dish.
Uh-oh. That did it.
This is the one I really like though. I really like this design.
Let me ask you a question, like, what is the problem with people climbing on stuff?
Yeah.
Look, people are gonna climb on what they wanna climb on.
Right.
We just don't want to sort of put invitation on it.
Okay.
And, the support bars across, I think people. Hey, let's do pull-ups, and ultimately the goal of public art is to create things that people respect enough and love enough that they're not gonna want to do that.
If you take that the bench is 2 feet, just as an example, and he says it's 15 feet, so I'm assuming to the lowest point. And a 6-foot person standing on 2 feet is 8 feet, which just means that,
Yeah.
so.
Thank you for the math. Okay, I feel
But that's to the
comfortable now.
blue.
Because it's like-
I think I'm not concerned about people jumping on this one.
Okay, good.
I appreciate your just not airing your not
I'm
concerned.
not airing my grievances.
Yeah.
I
Now
really
it's
like
better
this
light
one.
dishes there.
Okay, Jay, let's jump to the dragonfly one. That should be the first one, or the second one, yeah, there.
Wish we had a larger picture of the bottom of the benches.
Yeah, could you go into her file?
I wish I had seen the other works by this artist because the rendering doesn't do that much for me.
Yeah.
I find it
If we're gonna go into
detached.
the
That's
file,
what we're doing.
if we're
and
gonna
it's-
go into
yeah,
the file,
okay,
you'll be able to
good,
see it,
good.
because The work's actually very nice.
If there's anything you want to
Go back to right there. So you see there, she sort of did graphic rendering of what it could look like.
Can that be made larger?
That looks like a hot seat.
It is very nice. I like it.
Hey, could you scroll down, Jay? Further. You see, the bench would be like that.
Hmm.
And that's just, obviously, she's done that work in cities that have the same issue where you want it to be seated, but they're ways so it's not, you don't want to live there.
If you can go down further, there's actually installed pieces, I think that you can see afterward.
Yes. It's a beauty.
Bench.
Piece like that would have been great submitted to.
I mean, look at that.
Yes.
Yes, that's a beauty. My God, and that the rendering is so bad. You imagine this very tacky thing.
I like the one with the benches, the second. Everything.
Now that I see the execution of the benches, it's beautiful, but the other one, the desert bloom. Looks like there'd be more seating than just the 3 petals of the dragonfly.
That's a beautiful piece. I like the way she handles the leaves. I think now I agree, the second one.
Yeah.
I think there would be more leaves like that.
So again, I want to reiterate, we are nearing, our budget closes in June. So 5 months, 4.5, 5 months. We will get a new budget July 1st. We then can go back to any of these artists that aren't selected and say, we really love the sideways flower that you did, or the sideways leaf, whatever it was. Can you do something like that? So we've been doing open calls, but we don't always need to do an open call. We can target specific artists. We can say we want to do Beautiful Shade Part 2, and each commissioner can go to 3 artists and say, bring us a submission. We don't need to be wide open every time. So I think this artist has some really high quality work, and I'd love to see her in our collection. Whether it's the best out of this selection, that's up for us all to decide.
I love it. I love the likeness of it, like everything.
There's definitely a playfulness to her work as opposed to the one that you thought looked in front of Eisenhower.
Oh, yeah, I think what we're looking at here is on the right is a piece that's already installed, and on the left, it's just you can see the quality of what would happen.
Yeah.
And the site, I think it's the size.
Yeah, but if we're going on what you said, that looks like that person is in just the sun, there's that flower on top doesn't provide any shade.
Well, no, I'm saying that the one on the right is one that's installed, the one on the left would have the dragonfly, which would I think would.
Right, that's, we're saying the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that, this particular, even though the dragonfly would be on top, I do see shading on the bottom being cast by this flower. And maybe the dragonfly itself would provide more shade, but now looking at this, it doesn't seem like if you're sitting there, it would have to be at a certain time of day where you would be able to get shade.
Well, I go back to your point, Shonda, that out of the choice, I would prefer Desert Bloom or Condor.
Right.
In
Okay.
terms of shade, yeah.
Well, just in terms of impact as well. I think that,
But we would highly recommend to target this artist for a specific piece.
Yeah, I like the work.
If there's more money.
The work is beautiful.
Yeah.
Support.
Yeah, I mean, I could use this word, but there's a certain.
And we can make a suggestion for the convention center for this one too, right?
We can also, and
Or the airport, both.
I'll get to this when we're done. There's another
Okay.
solution I'll talk to when we voted on the finalist is. Okay, so it seems like the 2 that have the most votes are Condor and Desert Bloom. Is there anyone else that any feels needs to be in the finalist discussion?
I think this one should be if we're gonna pick 3. This one should be a 3rd option,
I would agree with that.
Okay,
instead of narrowing it down to 2.
okay.
Give it. It's better in 3s.
But you're talking, Shonda, about the one with the benches.
Yes, you talked me into the bench. No, I'm kidding. Yes, the one with the bench,
Okay.
'cause I think, yeah.
Um,
Even though it would only be a seat for 3 people, I think it's more aesthetically pleasing. I do like the dragonfly gazebo more than this flower, but since I didn't get enough gazebo votes, I'll go with the flower. The leaf. But I would still like the dragon. You're going on record, Shannon, saying.
So. Okay, so. I want everybody to go around the table and advocate one. Just choose the one that you like out of those three, the dragonfly, desert bloom, or condor. We're not voting, this is why I just want you to choose,
You won 3 finalists, you won 3.
or four if there's a fourth one. I didn't get a sense there was a fourth one.
But you want us to advocate for one in particular.
This isn't a vote, just choose which one you think and why you think it's the one that deserves it. And it can be
Okay,
compared to
yes,
the
that
other
one.
two.
Desert Bloom.
Desert bloom, why?
I think it's first of all, it's playful, it's fun.
Mhm.
I love also the last one you're talking about, but I think in terms of shade, this one works better. And
Okay.
Yeah.
Gina,
I love the condor. I think it checks every single box. I think it's beautiful. I think there's shade. I think it looks like it belongs in Palm Springs. I think it fits with our geography, it fits with our history, it fits with our culture. I think it's perfect for this project. I like Desert Bloom. Desert Bloom to me reminds me of the kitschy side of Palm Springs, the mid-century modern, bright colors, whatever. Which is great, but I think it's second to me to the condor.
Jim,
Just by a small margin, I do like condors more. I think it's very dramatic. The way that the shadows themselves are shaped like birds, birds coming at you as if you were a desert mouse. It's in that way, kids would love it. The shadow cast by large raptors coming at us. The one thing that I would compare it to Desert Bloom though is Desert Bloom seems to provide more seating space. And Condors only appears to have 2 benches at the base of each of the.
Those are not benches.
no, they're not benches.
Oh, those are not
There are
even
no
benches.
No, those are bike racks.
That's the problem that I have.
Bike rack.
Oh, they're on the side.
yeah, there's a
yes.
bench on the inside and bike rack on the.
Yeah,
Yeah, I thought that those were benches.
Oh, it's
They
a
look
bike
like
rack?
2.
Yeah. Okay.
A bike rack meaning it's a pipe that you could
Yeah.
chain a bike or two to.
Or date.
And I like how the condors themselves are 3-dimensional and the shadow is 2-dimensional. So there's this activity going on.
Mhm.
The flowers, the shade of the flowers is, the shade itself isn't the dynamic element.
no, the space is beautiful.
But the
yeah.
colors, the bright yellow and white colors, those are lovely. The reference to the Slim Aarons photo, I get that now that it's been explained, and it's charming. Haven't we decided to approve other sculptures though that are large scale flowers? Or did we just look at some other large scale
don't think we
flowers for
have.
art in the parks?
Shonda would know, she was doing flowers everywhere.
We looked at large scale cacti
Mhm.
Yeah.
with flowers on
Yeah.
them, I think. Maybe.
The condors are more unusual to me. The shadows cast by birds are more unusual and distinctive than shadows cast by flowers.
Okay. Tom,
I'm with these two, the condors and desert bloom. I love condors in the sense that for me, it's the communication element where you can sit across from a person and actually have a conversation. And that's kind of important to me because I think technology is screwing us all. Anyway, so topics. And I loved everything that Jim had said about condors, but I'm going to lean toward desert bloom because of it's being the first project that we're going to do with this. It's most impactful. And I really like the idea that it offers more shade and more places for people to sit and use. So I'm looking at it more the impact element and the amount of people that would benefit from it at one time.
Shonda,
I really enjoy this piece. It's extremely uplifting. I can see, the community gathering around it. I can see a lot of people gathering. the Condors has a little bit of a morose tone to me with that. I love it. But if I had to choose between the two, I would choose the desert bloom. But I know our city is well green enough to be enough.
Lori,
So, I go for Desert Bloom, what I think is scale, it just seems more appropriate to the park, and also I think in the Condor, it's misleading. First of all, the sun has to be directly above it to cast that shadow, the sun is only directly above it for probably 5 minutes a day. You can't actually see the colors and shapes that you're seeing, I'm looking down on it, because you're actually sitting under it. So I think that, and this one doesn't actually show all the angles of the shade, the other one will provide a different shade structure, so. I just think the scale of this and the playfulness of it is great, and the secret.
so my assessment of all three, I think that the dragonfly is charming and playful. I don't think it's as strong as these other two. Condor, when I first saw it, I gasped, I was like, wow, that's so dramatic. And it is dramatic. And I think to me, this was exactly what we asked for with art, which creates the design shadow, even if it's for 10 minutes, it still does. And the shadow was the piece almost. So you focused on that shadow. So I thought that was so great. To your point, maybe if the condors were angled rather than overhead, you'd get longer shadows. It might be more impactful. But when I see Desert Bloom, I see joy and a brightness. And I think if you'd asked me 2 months ago, I might have said condors are okay, but right now I think we need joy. And I think we need to be putting joy and brightness and community into our parks. So I would be apt to go for Desert Bloom out of these three. But again, I think that all the artists are worthy of being in our collection. So if we end up going, and it seems like Desert Bloom has the votes, we'll do a formal vote on it. But what we can do, well, let's vote on the other solution we can do for the other artists as well. Okay.
So we're voting for a final?
If anybody has any concerns or wants to make any statements, we can vote for the finalists now. For the $50,000 assessment.
And that will go to city council or
Ultimately we'll go to council. Yep. Okay.
Do we have a timeline with this will be done?
Yeah. Probably September. It would be installed.
Oh, install?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they need 4 to 5 months for fabrication.
Okay. I was just making sure that city council. didn't-
Oh, no, we'll get it.
Okay.
We'll get it. They've already approved the money.
Okay, right. I
And
just
the
wanted
money's
to make sure.
approved and
I had 2 questions, the park that it would go to, but also, with his other one, he ended up adding lighting, would this be lit?
I'm sorry,
He had added lighting, would this be lit?
probably not.
Yeah, I believe we specifically said no electrical.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah, park at
Because
night.
the parks aren't lit at night, they close at 10 o'clock. So,
and which park?
well, let's vote on the piece first and then we'll determine the park. Okay, Jay, would you like to call a formal vote? What would the language be?
Would you like to vote on each one individually and see how that goes, or just which one?
I think we can make.
We're pretty
a
much
Narrow
done
it
with that.
down.
We can vote for Desert Bloom. So can someone just make a motion that Desert Bloom is the
Yeah.
winner? Would someone like to make a motion, Shonda? Because this is your favorite.
I would like to make a motion that Desert Bloom is the finalist in our beautiful shade January 2025 Public Arts Commission voting.
At the
process.
$50,000.
The $50,000.
Would someone like to second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Jay's like, we didn't do it right. Did we do it right, Jay?
Fine. I just didn't know how to write it down.
Okay.
So, 7-0.
And I will add in that a slight modification that we will talk to the artists about doing dividers in there as well, which we mentioned.
So skateboarders
Yeah,
as
so,
well as.
yeah, which is,
People can't sleep on it.
Correct.
You can catch a quick nap, but you can't have an 8 hour. Okay,
yeah, bears can't live there. something
Right.
like that, you know, we have a bear problem. here.
exactly.
Okay, did we need a bathroom break before we move to 25,000? Are you guys okay?
Good.
Okay, before we move to 25,000, I want to state that we found some designs in here that are great. When we review the $25,000 designs, if we determine there's nothing in there that we think is sufficient, we can certainly then vote to go back to, say, the Dragonfly artist and say, can you resubmit something for $25,000?
So it does not. it does
As
not
long as there's something
myself,
that we
because I
don't
thought
have
it's
in
sufficient
here
for
that we think is
25,000.
sufficient. So, because there are less for the 25,000.
Right.
So we can, again, we can do whatever we want. We can say none of these designs are worthy. But I don't think we'll get there, but no, we can't do that.
With the 25,000 level, is it okay to ask the other commissioners if there's one particular design that stood out to them?
We're gonna go through them again.
Even though we're going through them again?
Yeah.
Is that a question that we can ask?
Well, I think we'll know when we do the vote.
When we
Like,
go through
as I
it,
said,
okay.
the very first round of voting, 2 were unanimous, and that was Condor and definitely.
Not to four
Sort of new.
acceptable ones, but that's it.
I feel that we owe it to
We
the
need it
artist to
to,
have the
okay.
public discussion.
Yes,
As
I
well.
agree with you.
Okay. Okay, ready to go with the 25 KJ?
Ready.
Okay. I don't think we need to go through selection criteria again. It's as is before.
Yeah.
I have feedback on 3 from the impact team, and I'll get to them as we go through them. The first one is All Inside the Sky, #1 by Michael Bernberg. And this is an angled disc with 12 slits around a sundial. It is steel and paint that is 12.5 feet tall and 10 feet wide. Okay, next one, please. #2 by Michael Bernberg is Being Doing. Arrows of light rays emanate in a circular pattern like the sun. It is steel and paint. It is 14 feet tall and 7.5 feet wide. #3 is Untitled by Grace Chadwick. Big sculptures, and it's school kids to design the stem with kind words. The materials weren't provided, and it's 14 feet tall, 8 feet wide, and 7 feet deep. Okay. Next one, Cactus by Jen Dwyer. Palm tree angled to maximize shade. It is mirrored steel, should not supply dimensions. Did we ever find out if it's 1 palm tree or 4 for the 25K?
No.
Yeah, we reached out to the artist because she has
Four.
4 of them here, but we weren't sure for the 25K if it really was 4 or,
Yes.
or 1. #5 is The Word on the Street, Big Bloom by Scott Froschauer. Aircraft aluminum and engineering grade vinyl, 16 feet tall and 8 feet wide. Okay. The next one, Untitled by Shelley Heffler. Shaded walkways, metal and repurposed vinyl. She's a local artist. #7 is Untitled by Andy Kim. It is a multi-use space. Machined and softened aluminum. This was one that the impact team felt was inviting for people to camp and hide belongings. Okay. #8, Untitled by Sean Z. Kupperweiss. Designed, inspired by Tuckwitz Canyon rock art. This is 14 feet tall, 16 feet wide, and 13 feet deep. #9 is Monarch Magic by Adrian Littman, which is 15 feet tall and 10 feet wide. #10 is Shady Leaf by Adrian Littman, Court and Steel, 15 feet tall and 10 feet wide. #11 is Basics, #70 by Matthias Newman, designed to cast interesting shadows. It's treated high-grade 2x4 lumber, 30 feet tall, 20 feet wide, and 9 feet deep. This was one that the impact team felt was inviting for people to camp and hide belongings. #12, Palm Frond Small by Mandy Pelasic. designed to offer dappled shade perforated metal on powder coated steel, 12 feet tall and 12 feet wide. Number 13 is Umbrella Tree Bench by Paul Reamer, unfinished perforated corten steel, 11.5 feet tall and 15 feet wide. Number 14 is Shapescape by Angie K. Smith, and this is reinforced concrete footings and aluminum roof, 12 feet tall by 12 feet wide. And this one, they said, was inviting for camping and shelter. And the last one is Knotted Loop by Jennifer Tran, inspired by the trefoil knot and made of powder coated steel. There were no dimensions supplied. Okay. So again, we'll go around, and if there are 4 people that support it going to the next level. Number 1. And there are 4 people that support this going to the next one.
This is the artist Madabi, is that correct?
Correct.
It does the,
He
Okay.
did nothing, which is in front of the museum currently, and he did the community pillar.
The community, oh, what are the, one,
Yeah. Okay. Would anyone like to support this going to the next level? Nope. Sorry, Michael. Next one. Being Doing by Michael Bernberg. Would anyone like to support this going to the next level? Okay. Sorry, Michael. Next one. Grace Chadwick, Untitled. Would anyone support this going to the next level?
I do.
Yeah.
I also like the interaction, the school kid part of that, to kind of get the community involved. I'm not sure about the shade it provides, but I like the piece.
Okay. Does anyone else support this going to the next level? Okay, next. Jen Dwyer, palm tree angled to maximize shade, cactus, okay? Does anyone support this going to the next level?
I like the pieces by themselves, but there's no, I don't know the dimensions of it, I think it's just how many. But I do like the pieces by themselves. I think they're very slick, they're very nice, especially because they're mirrored. But this one, it's about dimension. If they are puny palm trees, I'm sorry. And can you do that with 25,000? Yeah.
This to me is something that I would, I can't believe I'm saying this. It feels a little corporate. There's a sort of, it doesn't feel, it feels like I'd see it in a mall. And it's art, but it's so polished that it just doesn't feel that, and I just see fingerprints all over it.
I know what you mean. Yeah, it is very slick.
Yeah.
It's very, even the environment that it shows, it's very, yeah.
So
You're right.
I'm concerned about maintenance. I just think it'll be very tough with the shininess of it. Next one, Jay.
So there's a 0.
0 votes for that one. Okay. We're on the street. Big Bloom, Scott Freshour. 16 feet tall, 8 feet wide. Does anyone support this going to the next level?
I do.
I think it's fun. It sounds like those cartoons. I mean, it's it's a fun piece. I don't dislike it. 2. Any more? Okay, let's leave it at 2 and we'll see where it stands. Next one, Untitled by Shelley Heffler. Anyone support this going to the next level? I kind of like this one.
I think it's, the material used enabled the color to come through a little bit, where it's like pick up the concern others have about using the resin and everything with the transparency, becomes a magnifying glass. It does look a little industrial, like something, but no offense, John, but the Parks Department would put in. But I like the crafty feel of it as well. That's it. Let's not get to the next level. Okay, this was next one, number 7. Was one that the impact team, I have to confess, I didn't understand what this one was doing. Although I did like their captions. So happy we got to maintain our public schools.
I like the whole aspect of collaboration, but I don't get it.
Okay. Next one. No votes, Jay. Next one. Untitled by Sean C. Kupperweiss. Does anyone support this one? Nope. Okay, sorry, Sean. Next one. Monarch Magic by Adrian Littman. Nope. Sorry, Adrian. I appreciate your persistency. Number 10, Shady Leaf by Adrian Littman. Nope. Okay, Adrian. Sorry. Next one. Apart from the impact team's concern, I was concerned about the lumber being used for this. It's a fine balance of materials that are durable and touchable, but lumber to me just is like, again, if it were something for like Desert X, that could be, for something that was a short-term assembly.
I love this piece. I think this is so beautiful, design, the juxtaposition, the execution.
And the shadows,
The
right?
shadows, the way you can interplay going in and out of it. I think it have a lot of shade. I think architecturally, it's beautiful. I don't know if I can say that, but I mean aesthetically.
Say whatever you like.
I think it's really pleasing, the colors of the orange and the yellow, it speaks to me for the desert. Yeah, I really like this piece.
Anyone else support it going to the next level?
It's okay.
Next one.
Is there a vote on that?
Yeah, there was no one. Shonda supported it. Palm frond, small, Mandy Palasic. I like this piece. Again, I like the color, the graphic nature. I think it may not stand out in a big way on its own, but as I said, if it were put over a water fountain, it all of a sudden creates and elevates the water fountain. I think it's sort of an interesting way to do it. So to me, it's adding to the park rather than saying, look how, so.
Me too.
Anyone else? Can we get it to 4? Well, let's put it at 3 because so far that's leading with 3. You're a tough crowd today. Anybody want Pringles? Okay. Okay.
It's kind of unique.
14. Umbrella Tree Bench by Paul Reamer.
Yeah, I like this one. I mean, it's a smaller version of the previous one,
Yeah.
so, but it's still almost 12 feet tall. My question is it sitting on a rock bench? I
Yeah.
can't- It is a rock bench. So do we know if the 11.5 feet is from the bench height or from the ground? We don't.
I'm guessing if that is 15 feet wide, that looks like 15 feet there. That's my guess.
I think actually that was the one that I really liked. The number 13.
Jay didn't like this one.
I like this one in the sense that it's of all the ones so far, it's other than the architectural one, it has the most shape. At least if it's truly 15 feet wide, then that's a decent amount of shape.
I mean, for $25,000, I like the aesthetics of it. I think it's a very nice piece. Provides shade, it has that very nice stone bench.
And it's interesting the way it did the trunk. So it wasn't just a
Yes.
solid piece, it was that intertwined.
Jay doesn't like it.
It's actually popped up with, how do you rate this?
Well, now that you've asked.
Bad time.
Okay, good. Um. Let's see, how many people support this one? 4. Okay, move on to the next level. Okay, number 14, Shapescape by Angie K. Smith. And I believe, did this one have a mural painted
Yeah,
underneath
that's what I was going to ask.
as well?
Is it the same one?
It says it does on the
It doesn't
image.
show it though.
Yeah, it didn't show it.
I thought in the package showed it.
There is
Yeah.
another one 50K, I think.
Yeah,
Yes, that has a mural. I don't think it says this one does.
yeah, it had a mural. Her one for 50K had a mural. I would support this one if it had a mural.
It does say it right there, a little arrow,
Under the-
mural on
A
the.
mural on the inside. Okay, so,
Oh, good.
um. The previous one, the umbrella tree bench, just kind of feels like the living desert to me. Um. Whereas Shapescape feels a little more architectural. And again, I'm looking at, okay, well, what we just approved for Desert Bloom, and it's bright, it's noticeable. It's gonna get your attention, it's gonna show you can sit outside in the heat and get shade. I think Shapescape could do that as well.
If you look at her bigger listing, it shows you detail of what the mural looks like underneath.
Can you pull up her? Well, you know what, wait, let's just vote if we want this to go to the next level, and we can vote at
Yes.
that point. Okay, so is there enough people to support this next level?
You had said that the impact committee thought this would invite people to camp and hide belongings and, I don't think that's consistent with their not saying that about the umbrella tree branch. They're just 2 more pylons, but I don't see the place where people are going to camp and hide belongings. It's much qualitatively different than the others. I kind of like it because it's abstract. But with the mural up underneath it, that would also be interesting.
Is there enough people to support this one
For discussion?
for
I think
discussion?
so, yeah.
Okay, great, so next one for discussion, last one, 15. Knotted Loop by Jennifer Tran.
As you say, design wise, I think it's interesting, it's creative. I'm hesitant to endorse it only because, the dimensions, which we don't really know. And it does not look that large. It looks like it's only about 8 feet wide if they're looking at, the human and you kind of drag it through. Anyway, but, and it's not gonna offer a ton of shade, but I like design wise, it's impactful.
Any other comments?
I like the design.
I agree.
would vote for this one. I like the color. I like that it would stand out in a park. I agree with Tom that it's hard to know what the dimensions are, but it would cast shadows all day in some direction. And I don't know the width between the little lines or whatever that is, because if it's close enough, it actually would provide a good amount of shade.
But again, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I mean, shade, in terms of shade, doesn't provide that much shade. But cast shadows would be beautiful, how this happens during the day.
Do you support it going to the next level?
I think I support for discussion also.
Tina?
We don't have that many.
No.
Carlo?
I don't think it
Or
is.
sorry,
I think it's,
Jim.
I think it's beautiful, but
Shonda?
No.
I do. So that's 4. It goes next level. Okay. What are the ones we have? 2 at 4, 3 at 4? We don't have any unanimous.
Let me just confirm on. Escape. We had, I counted 3, was that 3?
I think it's 4.
I think there was 4.
Do we have 4 for shapes? Okay. All right, then we have 3 proposals with 4 votes.
Okay.
Those are Umbrella Tree, Shapescape, and Knotted Loop.
Okay. Was there any other ones that people want a final discussion on?
Just have a question to what you brought up when we looked at the. Given the one artist that we really liked, if we were to bring it into this category, could we look at her budget to see if it's even worth the discussion? On the 50 or not?
Can I piggyback that? Clearly, I think to me, the all of the 25,000 designs didn't really hit 100% of the marks that I was looking for in terms of producing shade and the amount of it. My suggestion maybe would be that we maybe hold off on the $25,000 level and really work with the 50 and see how those get produced, because clearly there was a lot in that $50,000 range that everybody liked, portions and or felt strongly about, and you clearly we didn't have that response at this level. So as opposed to just selecting one to fill that level, that may be, and I'm not taking anything away from the artist, but if it's not a design that everybody's ecstatic about, then maybe we should hold off on it until we do find one.
Any other comments? I something I want to say, but I wait to the end.
I would question the woman, I think it was a woman, who did the dragonfly gazebo and the dragonfly bench. It seems that the gazebo was much larger than the bench, so I can kind of see why the bench might be a $25,000 piece instead of a $50,000 piece. I think we could ask her.
Jim?
I'm not particularly moved by any of them.
Okay, you said that. That's great. That's sufficient. Shonda?
Oh, the one I was moved by, no one moved with.
There were 2 that I would have chosen if it were up to me personally. One would have been Knotted Loop, and the other one is the front. But again, it's one person, and that's a vote. Here's what I would suggest. Keep in mind, we really have 30,000 because we didn't get a $5,000 submission. So we can do one of 2 things. But we have to vote, and we can vote to go to the artist and say, can you do something for 30,000?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Or we could go to when Jay gets us our budget from finance that we've been asking for, we can then revote for whatever she comes back with and says, I can do something for 40. And then we can say, great, we will do this for 40,000 for her. But we don't have to do anything. We don't have to allot 25,000.
So among those artists from 50K, okay, because we like several pieces there. Is there a way to get a second one? To fall into, I mean, even if you negotiate 40,000.
Well, that's what we're doing with
Yeah.
the dragon. I think the dragonfly
Okay.
woman was. the
Well, I
one-
think that would be the best thing. Instead of choosing one of, I mean, the submissions were pretty bad for 25K.
I would. So Jay, we can vote to do this. We need to make a motion, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And then I would say that I think we owe it to the artists that did the 25,000 to articulate why none of them moved us. There's two things I want to address. One is, we've heard publicly from some local artists on why they're submitting and we're not choosing. And we noted everyone that was local. And yet their work didn't move us for whatever reason. I think that we need to do a better job of doing outreach to local artists, but at the same time, we can let them know why their work was not as strong. And as I said, the Condor and the Desert Bloom, unanimous, and there 7 of us are completely different views on what's acceptable and unacceptable with art. So we can deal with that later. But I think that's just something I want to be considerate of moving forward as well. I will say that just because we did not choose it for this specific commission work, the airport or the convention center may choose some of the other ones that we did not select. Again, different requirements. We're going in a park. There's safety issues. There's maintenance issues.
I wonder when we go out for proposals for 2 different ones, that we specify that if you're submitting them both, you cannot just take your submission for 50 and pare it back and say 25. That they need to be unique individual pieces, because what I see is that people said, okay, I just cut 5 feet off the steel here, or I'll do, and I think that should be added to our request, because I think we would have gotten stronger submissions if people didn't just try to take one submission and make it work for 20.
I was surprised we didn't get any for 5. Honestly, I think that's, somebody could have done something creative and simple for 5K. And we didn't get anything, not one. And to me, I thought there would have been more different submissions for 25K than we got. A lot of them felt, as you said, they were smaller versions of what they did for 50K, or a lot of similarities. And I think, but out of the palm fronds, I like the way this one became very graphic, so I would have supported that. But as I said, this is a commission and it's a majority vote. And we all responded well to not her rendering, her previous work, which is another thing we need to address.
I'd also like to address the fact that for 5K, maybe it's the community telling us that that's not enough money for the amount of work as an artist to do. I think we should take in consideration that, and maybe if we're gonna do something, a project like this, that it's not anything under 10K, because just 5K, I'm like, okay, I won't even roll out of bed for that. It's just like, it's for what we're asking for, that is just not sufficient.
I will state that the PS I Love You sculpture, that cost $35,000 to manufacture.
How much?
35.
But is it a shade piece?
No, I'm just saying in terms
But
of
I get what you're saying,
manufacturing.
But I'm also manufacturing wise, I mean, it
So
needs to.
and if you look at the animals that are in Critter Alley, Red Dragon and the duck and the crab those were 25K manufacturing. So
Chandra's point, Chandra's sorry.
Yeah.
10,000 is probably not even sufficient. The truth of the matter is, given the cost of most of these in steel, just the manufacturing, making them so they'll stand up under the weather with the right paints, whatever, you're probably looking at a starting point of probably 25 or 30,000 as a starting point, so.
again, the reason why we did 5K was thinking there may be some artists that wanted to start small. So I was thinking of these artists that not everybody can afford to do something at 50K. They may not have the capabilities or the resources or the funds to do something like that. No one did it, so that's fine. We have that money, and as I said, we can move it to the 25K, so we can say we got 30. Let's talk to the art. If we vote, talk to the artist, say, we love your work. Can you do something for 30K? Can you do something for 45, like 40, whatever we determine is the appropriate number that we can afford?
Can I suggest, is it a possibility for that 5K if can we do another local outreach for that? Maybe to the high school or to one of the local communities?
We can do whatever we like. So
can I
we
suggest
can.
something like that?
I will say that, there was a lot of outreach to begin with,
Mhm.
and there wasn't one response. What I would suggest is we voted on the 50K. We vote on what we want to do with the 25 and outreach to the other artists. We have to specify the artists we want to outreach to. We're not starting fresh. And then we can determine next steps at our February or March meeting if we want to move forward. And as I said, these are all intended to be programs. And so we can say next iteration, we want to do extensive outreach to local artists. We want to do more. We wanted to do, rather than a 5K, maybe it's a 10K level. We didn't hear any feedback. We just didn't get any replies. And we had to extend and do special, hey, we're not getting many for the 25K. So I think what happened is people saw 50K and 25K. They took their design, made it 50K, and then they sort of retrofitted it to 25K. And we also saw that with 3 or 4 other artists who just threw in submissions that they did for Artscape.
Yeah, I just have to say, I mean, I spend a lot of my days with materials. I suspect that, it really is $50,000. That's actually the right budget. And 25, people are like stretching it, and I just don't think you get much for 25. Or 10 steel, very expensive material.
And who knows what's going to happen in March, April with tariffs.
And so, can I make a motion?
You can make the motion, Lori.
Yeah, well, it may be one you want to pass, but. I'm gonna make it anyway.
You'll need a second.
I was going to make a motion that we go back to Addie Boswell. And we say that we have a budget that was not allocated $30,000 and see if she can provide a sketch of a piece that she could do for that.
Would someone like to second that?
I second it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Good motion.
Nice motion.
Commissioners, can I just add, that we should probably reject all the $25,000 proposals that were submitted, or?
I would hold off on rejecting them until we go to the convention center and the airport.
I think,
Because they may find some that they like for their needs, particularly the 25K, because the airport has a smaller footprint. And they may see something may fit there. Again, we're dealing with the parks here. And I want to be clear on, and there may be something that the convention center may like that's a little smaller to fit in the nook. Does that make sense, Jerry?
Can I make another suggestion? Based on what you had said about the drinking fountain and having that leaf go over it, to me, I instantly got a visual of what that would look like and how appropriate that would be. And maybe that would be very helpful if we had a project like that you could put at the $5,000 or $10,000 level. That would give an artist a function like, okay, that's what I have to work around and the parameters, and it only has to shade a small portion. And then I think you'd get a lot of responses.
We can do that, or we can give that direction to Addie.
Either or. No, I think for her, the design that she submitted is.
So we can, as I said, that can be phase 2 of Beautiful Shape. That's how these were intended to be programs that we evolve every time. So, but, as I said, when, like, just imagine a water fountain there. And then on one hand, and maybe that's the sort of thing you start doing in every park where it says visual symbol, there's water here. Because they're kind of hidden anyway.
I think that's actually a program unto itself.
Yeah.
And if you could allocate 5,000 for every water fountain.
Yeah. And it'd be nice to have a standard graphic shape, even if it is a big leaf, that then we get local artists to paint. So,
Commissioners, I didn't catch who seconded Commissioner Kitty's motion.
Carlos and
I did.
Thank you.
Oh, Shonda did too.
Well, we both did
We go with it, yeah.
simultaneously, so you can choose Carlos, since I threw the motion out for the first one.
well, as I said, it's, I do want to state when I looked through all the designs when they first came in, and I was working with Christine on the presentation, and publicly thank you, Christine. She did a lot of work pulling this together. And again, we have to legally put everything public, so all the background information is great. The first two that I was like, wow, that's the one, were Condor and Desert, or the Bloom. You know, I think, so that to me tells you that certain ones pop and they work. And again, they were the two that we had to set unanimous.
Do we now need to pick the park?
We did not talk about the park. We want to talk about the park now. Okay. Parks that I would suggest would be Ruth Hardy Park, Sunrise Park, or Demuth Park. Those are the three that we have not recently put artwork in. Every other park is out slotted for artwork. We've got the 4 in Artscape. We've got Desert Highland Park, Victoria Park, Gateway Park, and Baristo Park have Artscape coming. Those will be installed May 19th. We have the A's Memorial for the downtown park. We have the Pride Monument for Francis Stevens Park. So we don't have anything in the other 3 parks.
I would be in support of Ruth Hardy. It has a big giant green area with nothing in it.
I would support Ruth Hardy as well.
Me too.
Me too.
I think it works well there. I think Demuth Park needs something really big to stand out. It's such open space there.
And there's a lot going on in Duluth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is Ruth Hardy the park that One PS uses it, or is it for their neighborhood park thing that
Yeah.
they do every year?
Yeah.
Ruth Hardy is the one, so it's going there.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure that it's gonna get a lot of footwork there.
Yeah. Hey, Jake, can you pull up a satellite image of Ruth Hardy Park? Because there's a spot that I earmarked for art that I thought would be great. And I'll point it out to you once you do it. There is a piece there. We have 2 pieces of public art in Ruth Hardy Park. One is the Turtle Bike Rack, which is over by the tennis courts and pickleball. It's sort of there. It was part of the same bike rack competition with the Spider and the Palm Spring and the cantilever piece. And the other one is a piece called, and it's not because I like it. It is called Whirlwind 6 by Gary Slater. It's put there in 2006, and it's stainless steel. And there's a strip of land in the middle between the 2 parking lots at Ruth Hardy Park. And they created this sort of keynote shaped garden area. And there's a piece of artwork right in the middle of it. But then there's a space beyond that, which to me screams for public art. And it's got trees all around it. So if you can pull up the satellite.
That piece is lost.
I'm
Because
sorry.
I walk to Ruth Hardy Park all the time and I never noticed that.
Anything.
I never noticed it either.
Yeah.
Until I parked, I was like, oh, what's that? You
Yeah,
know,
I
it's,
noticed those 2 pieces we're talking
yeah,
about. Could this one be in that very open grassy area? That would be nice, right?
It needs space.
That's where they do yoga. That's
Yes.
where They do a lot of things. And
Yes.
it's Open
Go there to
space,
see that
lots of
piece and then
space.
discover the others.
There you go.
okay, so it's right here. This triangle here, there's a sculpture
nice.
right there,
Oh, wow.
and there's a garden that looks like it has rose bushes or something in it. And then there's trees all around here, but there's nothing there, and it's actually a substantial space.
Why don't we put it, I'm sorry, why don't we put it in a big open area
Yes,
to the right? somewhere?
There's a lot of kids playing soccer there when I was there. So what I would suggest we do, now that we have John here, is we can make recommendations, but at the same time, we should go to the Parks Commission and find out how they know people use this stuff. So this was heavily activated with people playing pickleball and tennis. There was a lot of kids playing soccer here with families, and there was a lot of kids running around here as well.
Yeah, but when I walk there, what we usually see is yoga in the park, and then I think there must be like AA meetings or types, because there's a lot of circles that happen there. You see people sitting in a circle, and I'm assuming it's some sort of meditation or some form of group, I don't know.
Doesn't mean we can't put it someplace here, this is the bathrooms up there. But there's plenty of places you could position it. We don't need to decide right now. What we can do is, we probably can get on the next Parks Commission meeting, and we could show them the artwork, say we want to do Ruth Hardy Park. And then if everybody can go to Ruth Hardy Park, come back with specific recommendations. And then we can vote at the February meeting. We don't need to know exactly where it's going yet. This design isn't contingent on. But even for council's approval, we just say, this is the design for Ruth Hardy Park.
What's that group? That's a sand pit, right, to the right of the parking.
This is parking.
Yeah, and then just to the right of that, that's all sand in there.
Yeah.
Correct. And then the play structure is further north.
This was actually more grass when I was there, but as I said, there was just a lot of kids playing there. Granted, it was a Sunday afternoon. So, the desert bloom could be great, maybe sort of here, if you had kids playing and parents wanted to sit there. And we also discussed, once we got the design, we would then go to Measure J or public funds to say we may want to get more of these. So we can duplicate the piece. If we wanted to put 3 or 4, either 3 in one park, or we could put them in multiple parks. So that's something to consider. We can discuss it at February meetings. Now that we know what we have and how it would work. But every piece would be a part of the public art collection. So that means we're responsible for the maintenance.
great.
Would someone like to make a motion for adjournment?
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting of January 16th. 2025.
To our meeting on February 6th?
Oh, it's,
Yeah, it's on the back of your.
oh, and to,
Meeting on February 6th, 2025 at 5:30 in the large conference room. Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Congratulations, everybody.
Thank you for bringing this. Oh, you can
See, they're good.
I think
They're
They're addictive, that's why I didn't have it.
the one.